Okay guys, let's start at the top here, and you can see I have this awesome custom sword for TOTAN. This is a one-off. You would have seen, probably, for those of you that know some of the toppers for TOTAN, you can get a sword, but I think it's plastic. This is the real deal, carved out of wood, brass fittings, and 100% real blade with cut-in lighting. And I don't know if we can see it here, there's all the bulbs and everything are connected up, and it's actually ready to rock for a real machine actually. Now there is a way of getting this hooked up through DOF, I believe. I've seen a Virtual Pinball table running with the sword lights in TOTAN, and I need to know how that is configured. There'll be certain solenoids, I guess, or in the not the solenoids table, really the light table in relation to the particular ones get triggered that need to be set up in DOF. I think I've got some spare inputs on the lead whiz, otherwise I'm going to have to set up another one. So anyway, that was awesome guys. That particular sword, I drove out into the middle of nowhere, and I'm not lying. There was no lights out there, was nothing. It was in a rural place. This guy used to have a TOTAN, and unfortunately he sold it and it went over to the eastern states, and a friend of his actually custom made this for him, and he no longer needed it because he no longer had the machine. So I feel pretty privileged to have this as a custom piece, and one day I hope that I can put it on my real TOTAN. But for now guys, what a nice topper. In here you'll see the it's actually a fishtails cover here, and it's quite nice because it sort of glows with the light. And of course we've got the dome still in there, and that reflects off the light onto the ceiling, the Cree lights that fire off in here, and the flashes. None of this has been really put into any sort of permanent order yet. Still working that out. The girl that I used to have in here, the little figurine, which the little magician coming out of the chest, I've removed from that. That was really about the Theatre of Magic, and of course now that I have the real Theatre of Magic machine, this one is sort of turning into more of a TOTAN themed Virtual Pinball. So she has gone from here and is now back in, well not back in, but she's now in the arcade up on a shelf. Moving down, no changes to this back glass TV, and I tell you, geez, that looks nice guys. And you know, I remember, for those of you that have been around for a long time, this TV, the bezel was cut into the side here. I'm like, I cut into the side here and slid the TV through and then sealed it and then put the decals over the top, so there's absolutely zero. I mean, this is just wood here, that's not the bezel of the TV. There is zero bezel, and I tell you what, this is quite an old TV now, but if you look at that for a Translight, it looks pretty special. Moving down, I have not yet purchased the colour DMD. That is still on the cards. My old high school DAD. I need to get my Spaceys ones up here, SPC. I did change out the speakers here guys. I do want to do the full surround. That was part of the next upgrade. But for now, I've just changed these out. The Logitech, it's a 2.1 system, because the volume control was playing up on the old ones, and they were pretty old. So we dovetail ourselves down here. See, we've got a nice little volume control on the inside here, which is nice and easy. A little temperature gauge as well. So yeah, that's just sorted out the sound for me for the moment guys, and clearly I will sort that out with some surround sound is where we're going to go to once we get all the contactors in. Now you'll see one of the couple of big changes. So first of all, there's a bit of a gap here. You can see the glass finishes here. Why? Because I have moved the head back. Remember, the head was forward, the machine looked sort of squashed. I brought it forward because the monitor was smaller. Again, for the eventual replacement here for a 43-inch 120 hertz OLED. Dreaming. But once we get a bigger screen down the track, and that will be, guys, that will be the last upgrade I'm going to do in terms of timing, and it's going to be a long way off, but I think you can see where this is going. Move the head back. Remember, I wanted to move the screen forward, which I have done. And even that, guys, geez, that takes some time to do that. And I did that because I wanted to get the real apron here from the pinball machine in. And I tell you what, this has worked out better than I thought it would. I thought it would be good, but I didn't think, and especially because we got the lights on at the moment, but I didn't think the effect that this gives, and you can sort of see it now, is that it cuts away the screen, and in the dark, this sort of goes dark like it does on a real pinball table, and you lose that whole sort of, you know, rectangle wedge that you would typically see on a virtual pin. And it, guys, it's just, it really does give it a sense of realism, surprisingly more than what I thought it would. Of course, you do lose, you know, the details of any corner stuff, but seriously, since I've been playing, I have not thought about that at all. I've just thought of how awesome this looks to be playing and having this sort of darkened off, especially in the dark. Of course, as you come around, you can sort of see the effect here of bringing in real life parts in the screen. Interestingly, because of course this would normally dovetail over the wood, and it's it's not at the moment, and it's empty through there, and it actually works out okay. I think the 43-inch will sort this out a little bit better, because I've got some bezel here, of course, and the intent is, of course, is to get the 43 right out to the edge and cut it in to the cab will be the eventual plan. So I am a little bit out at the moment, but it is pretty cool. If once I get this plunger fixed, which I haven't fixed yet, but you'll be able to see the tip of that through there as well. It's just, yeah, I can't recommend it enough in terms of giving it just that extra bit of realism. Wow. Oh, Ghostbusters. So, yeah, so how did I do that? Well, at the end of the day, the other big problem with this was how to mount the thing, because normally it would be on the wood of the pinball machine, of course, and it's got some weird stuff through here in terms of the way all the metalwork is done. This piece here was a separate piece to the side. I ended up super gluing it actually, and that has now stuck to the side of the main apron, come out in one piece. And there is one bolt behind here. So the original apron had a hole through the back, and so I thought, okay, I'm going to drill a hole underneath the lockdown bar and put a bolt through there, connect it up. I put some little thin piece of gaffer tape underneath the bottom of the ridges here so it doesn't scratch the screen, and effectively that bolt holds it in place, and then it rests on the screen. And I think it looks pretty sensational. It looks pretty sensational. The only thing I probably will change is, you can see how this sort of scales up here now. I've got my 3 Cree lights there. One here. These were moved an inch as I moved the screen up. But I think what I'll do now is that this looks so good that I think I'm just going to follow the line and make it flat so that that doesn't look like it's going up. And the other good thing about that is that when I get the LED strips, they'll fall, you know, they'll go straight along here all the way through. maybe I'll mirror blade it as well, and then put the strips around there, and then around the back here where this gap is, that'll be where the main RGB strips will be. And that's what I'm going to do there, guys. Originally I was thinking about bringing that DMD down under there. I've given that idea away. There's not enough room. Once this goes 43 inch, there'll be even less room, but there'll be a nice amount of room for all the RGBs, and we'll figure out what we're going to do with the flashes, and then we'll have an almost aspect ratio perfect screen coming down to here. And it's funny because it sort of looks like it almost drops off into the darkness. It almost drops off into the darkness there. So that is the main changes to the cabinet. I have also jacked the cabinet up, so now that it's on a bit more of a slope. But I did, guys, I also spent, oh my God, I spent over a day, and I'll show you here, I've got a bunch of solenoids from the original machine. Some of these are 25 volts, some of these are 50 volts. I thought that I would be able to hook a couple of these off and create some flipper solenoids running off the Zeb's board, and I had zero luck. In fact, the only luck I had was one particular solenoid worked for a little bit, not well, and only on a certain angle, and that was it. And geez, guys, I spent over a day on it, and I was just like, what is going on? I didn't know if it was the Zeb's board or not. I did some voltage checks on it. I actually didn't seem like it was detecting voltage. I wasn't sure if the short amount of voltages just wasn't being detected by the multimeter or not. I wasn't sure, guys. At the end of the day, I think I'm going to have to shell out and get some contactors, and some 24 volt contactors or 12 volt contactors, and utilize those instead. And it's a bit of a shame because I thought I'd be able to use my old pinball ones, but you know, it's old tech and you can burn those coils out easily. Maybe it's better if I just bite the bullet, get some contactors. I just hope I haven't blown up the Zeb's board, because it doesn't seem to be delivering the power out from the contactor area on the booster board, so we'll have to check that out. All right, so all of that, and I'll tell you what, with this Apron, and if I had contactors here on the flips, I played a virtual pin with contactors, and geez, that makes a huge difference on the flippers, just the flippers alone, let alone having them out for all the bumpers and stuff. But it was such a nice feeling. I feel like if I get them going, and I get them going with this setup, and remember, this TOTAN, by the way, was designed for 4K, and I don't have 4K in here yet, and even without it, this just looks so good. This really, really looks so nice, and it's just so nice to play. So that is stage one of the upgrades. We have not touched the PC. I still have a lot of PC related issues. It's still playable. I get a little bit of slowdown, especially when the DOF effects come in. Only on some tables though on VPX. It's silky smooth on Pinball FX3, so I don't know, but I'm not going to spend too much time trying to diagnose all that stuff, because at the end of the day I will change it all out for a new PC, and then we'll spend time actually getting that nice and smooth. I've done so many changes on here, changed so many settings, graphic settings, both within VPX and also the NVIDIA settings and combinations thereof, guys. I'm just over it. But for now, I am just enjoying what I have, and absolutely very grateful to be able to play this machine and how it's set up today. So just look at this. Just look at this table, guys. And remember, this is only 1080p. This is built in 4K. Look at the ramps. Oh my God, the lighting. This is something else. And for this to be released as my favorite, look, Jesus, look at this ramp. Look at it. Look at the rendering on that. And it's not only just the rendering and stuff, you know, when the ball hits the genie just floats so beautifully. It hops and gets scooped around in these saucers. It's just, wow. It's almost better than the real thing. Almost. Almost. I've still got to get the real TOTAN one day. All right, guys.